NDPC boss talks tough on Nigeria's data sovereignty, because most national data is still stored outside the country. The fight is between a hard compliance line from regulators and a private sector argument that incentives, not force, should build local cloud capacity. The confirmed event is that Nigeria's data regulator warned that offshore storage weakens enforcement and that data centers cannot avoid privacy rules by claiming they only warehouse information. The reason this belongs in a crypto news read is that the digital economy is large enough that data location, cyberattacks, and citizen privacy have become infrastructure questions rather than back-office issues. The opening pressure point is Nigeria is pushing data sovereignty against offshore storage and compliance. The first confirmed detail is more than 90% of data is stored offshore, and the immediate reason to care is that weekly attack attempts exceed 4,000. That means the viewer should track any penalty against operators, instead of treating the first reaction as the whole story. The baseline keeps the story grounded. The confirmed baseline is that Nigeria's digital economy is valued at about $80.3 billion and nearly 20% of GDP. The NDPC commissioner said over 90% of the country's data is stored offshore, and networks face more than 4,000 attack attempts each week. Without that frame, it is too easy to treat the event as bigger or cleaner than the evidence supports. The two facts that set the baseline are clear. Digital business is nearly 20% of GDP, and citizen datasets sit inside the trust debate. That frame keeps $80.3 billion digital sector is cited connected to the actual consequence rather than floating as an isolated statistic. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. In the NDPC boss talk story, the mechanism is straightforward but important. The mechanism is legal control over storage. If data sits offshore, domestic regulators have less practical power to audit, protect, or enforce rights. Treating storage as processing pulls data centers into privacy obligations even when they do not actively analyze the information. The viewer should focus on how that mechanism changes access, risk, cost, or trust. In practice, storage counts as processing is the hinge between the confirmed event and the next market or user response. The mechanism split is simple. The regulator treats storage as processing, while data centers may face direct privacy duties. If that hinge fails, the strongest title-level claim loses force even if the story keeps attracting attention. The affected side is where the story becomes practical. Local data centers, cloud providers, Nigerian businesses, citizens, and foreign infrastructure firms are all affected by the shift. The practical consequence is that providers may need stronger identity, privacy, security, and service guarantees before regulators accept the model. If compliance pressure rises faster than incentives, investment could move slowly or favor countries with better cost structures. The useful boundary is that cloud and data centers face pressure, while incentives versus enforcement is unresolved. The impact split is local providers need stronger SLA credibility, and foreign cloud firms may weigh regional incentives. That keeps the impact focused on the people, markets, or systems actually named in the evidence. The confirmed facts stop before the unresolved piece. What remains unclear is how Nigeria will balance enforcement with the economics needed to attract major cloud regions. That does not prove that regulation alone can create competitive local hosting capacity. A better read needs clear penalties, credible service level standards, and enterprise demand for local storage would show whether the policy can work. This is the line between analysis and speculation. The unresolved split is the warning does not build cloud regions alone, and demand and cost terms still shape investment. The story can stay important while incentives versus enforcement is unresolved remains unresolved, but the stronger claim needs visible proof. Most people arrive after the move is obvious and the easy upside is gone. We focus on serious crypto education and high-quality signals before the crowd rushes in, so you can understand the setup earlier and move sooner. If you want that edge, visit the link below now. The clean trigger to track is this. Watch whether Nigeria turns the warning into concrete enforcement against noncompliant operators. If formal penalties or mandatory local hosting rules follow the public warning, the story can move from policy warning into operator compliance. For NDPC boss talks, that is the follow-through that matters. The trigger split is formal penalties would change the stakes, and enterprise local hosting demand is another trigger. If that trigger does not arrive, the story may stay in policy warning longer than early attention suggests. If it does arrive, operator compliance becomes easier to evaluate with facts instead of assumptions.